What's up YouTube, omegaLVLgamer here, or Jason, coming to you with episode 2. Uh, in the previous video I asked you guys to put down in the comments what collection video you'd like to see. The only comment, there were a couple comments, but the only comment of anyone who suggested a system to do a collection video on was cincyswaggamer. Uh, Shout out to that guy. He's got a relatively new YouTube channel, so definitely check him out. He's a real cool guy to watch. He recommended he wanted to see the NES or the N64, and I chose the N64. The reason for that is it was a system that I had. It was a big part of my childhood. Me, my brother, and sister got one for Christmas right after it came out, and I just have a lot of fond memories. There's a lot of great games on the N64. It's one of the ones I like to play still to this day with my friends, family. I remember having it when I was younger, and me, my brother, and sister were only allowed to have a certain amount of time each day to play. And as you guys know, any restriction on the amount of time to play video games isn't good. So we would always sneak playing the N64. When the parents would leave, we'd have one of us posted at the window, the other two would be playing the N64. If the parents drove in, turn it off, pull the game out, wrap the controllers up, put them away as fast as you can, and then get back to whatever you were supposed to be doing. But that's why I chose the N64. This is episode 1 of the N64 collection video, and we'll just jump right into it. First, I'll just show you the 2 different Nintendo 64 systems I have. I do get a lot of N64s, and I resell them. They're a good system. I don't really sell them for too much. Just try and keep them out of the garbage. Really, sometimes make a profit. But these are the ones I normally get, and that's just the original Nintendo 64. I've probably had at least 20 of these. This is the only one I have right now, and it's obviously the one for my collection. And the second one I've got is the Pikachu Nintendo 64. I actually got this at a consignment shop, kind of a little mom and pop thrift store. They were asking 20 bucks. It didn't have one of the cables, so I asked them if they would take 15, and they said yes. So again, another tip, it never hurts to ask. I was willing to pay 20 bucks if he said no. Asked for 15, he said sure, so I got it for 15. And that one did come with one of the blue and yellow Pokemon controllers. So those are my 2 N64s. And now we'll just hop into the games. We've got my only boxed N64 game. I don't really come across too many boxed N64 games here in Colorado, but the only one I do have I got at a flea market, and that's Castlevania. It's pretty good shape. This game, I don't like it. Most people don't like it. I think people have said it's been voted the worst Castlevania game made. I don't like it. And then now it's just the cart only games, which I've got a lot of. The first one is Banjo-Kazooie. I remember getting this when it first came out. It's a platformer where you play as a little bear and a bird in his backpack. To me, it was so much like Super Mario 64 with the moves that you could do, which isn't a bad thing. I really liked it for that reason, because it felt so familiar. After that, we've got the sequel to it, Banjo-Tooie. Same thing, great game, platformer for the N64. Next one up, Blues Brothers 2000, and this game is awful. I played it for the first time recently, actually, and it's kind of it's just a platformer, I guess is what you would call this, and it's just really bad. I don't know why you'd make a Blues Brothers game. Next up, Bomberman Hero. This game, another platformer, I guess. It's alright. It's not my favorite game. This game right here, next one, Conker's Bad Fur Day for the N64. Super awesome game. Played this later in the N64's life. I'm not exactly sure when it came out, but I used to get together with all my friends and just play multiplayer in this game forever. Third person shooter, pretty vulgar. It's got the M rating on it for a good reason, but it's super fun. It's kind of harder to get these days, but definitely worth a pickup. Cruisin' USA. I actually remember playing these games more in arcades than anywhere else. I played it on the N64, but I definitely like the arcades with the steering wheel and all that. And I did have a steering wheel when I was younger. I'm not a big fan of steering wheels for consoles, but it was pretty fun. Alright, next up we've got Diddy Kong Racing, kind of a Mario Party, I'm sorry, a Mario Kart game, but based on Diddy Kong. This actually has Conker in it. Really fun game. Duke Nukem 0 Hour. I played this recently, mostly because my brother got the new Duke Nukem for the Xbox 360, and I hadn't played one since the originals back on the PC, so I threw this one in. I got stuck in the first level or so, and that was even putting cheat codes on. I just couldn't figure out what to do, but Duke Nukem is always a fun play. ECW Hardcore Revolution, a wrestling game. I'm not a wrestling fan so much anymore, but when I was younger I was a huge wrestling fan, and it's actually one of the things that got me into collecting video games again. Was I wanted to get every wrestling game on the N64, so this obviously is one of them. This one's really not that great. It's got a huge roster, so if you're a wrestling fan, it's fun to go back and see who's still in it. But it's all right. F-Zero X from the F-Zero series, racing game, really fast-paced. Not a huge racing fan unless it's kind of off-the-wall stuff like Diddy Kong Racing or Mario Kart, but it's still a good game. Gauntlet Legends. This is like a dungeon crawler up to 4 players. I played this in the arcade a lot too, but probably more on the N64. I've just, about a year or so ago, I went in through with both my kids and we played through and got all the way to the end, except we couldn't find one of the runes, and then they kind of lost interest. But this is a great game, great multiplayer game, leveling up your characters, super fun, different character classes. And we've got Glover. This is a really bad platformer. People hate this game. I hate it. I don't really want to say much more about it. GoldenEye 007. This game, tons and tons of hours into multiplayer. I used to play this all the time. I was the first one of my friends to own it. I was the best out of anybody I knew, and I'm not just saying that like, oh, I'm the best out of all my friends. I actually went to a couple tournaments, and I already owned an N64, but I was in a 007, GoldenEye 007 tournament and won an N64 with it, from it. So great game. The story's awesome. You can get a bunch of unlockables like paintball mode or big head mode to go and use. I think you can use them in the story mode and in multiplayer. So awesome game. Next up, Killer Instinct Gold. I remember playing Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo. I never played this one too much, but I'm always a huge fan of fighting games. I do run into the problem that none of my friends or family really like fighting games and really just get angry with me because I just win and then they don't want to play after 1 or 2 fights. But then we've got Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. My wife is a huge Kirby fan. She didn't really like this one too much, but I don't think she gave it that much of a try. But I've played it. I like it. Cute little platformer, 3D. It's pretty fun. Next up, we've got Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. I haven't actually played this one too much. I've seen one of my friends, Joe, play through both of them. He can do it in a couple hours for each game. So, but this is a Zelda game. It's great. Some people's favorites. It's some people's least favorites of the Zelda games, but definitely worth owning. Lego Racers, another racing game. I actually like the premise of this because you get to build your own cars out of Legos, which is pretty neat. Not really much else to say about it. It's an alright racing game. More fun to build the cars to me than it is to race it. Lode Runner 3D. I couldn't really figure this game out. It kind of seems like a puzzle type game, and it was just too frustrating for me. Let me know in the comments if this is an amazing game and I should put more time into it, but I didn't really like it. Mario Golf. It's a Mario game. I'm not a big fan because to me it's a little too realistic for a Mario game. There aren't like power-ups or anything, and it's too much like golf, but it's a great game to have in your collection. Mario Kart 64. I used to play this a lot. Really great racing game. Way better than the Super Nintendo version, in my opinion. And maybe that's because I never had the Super Nintendo version until just within the past couple years. But it's a great game, super fun. Mario Party. It's like a party mini game. If you guys haven't seen it yet, a lot of people have played this game. I actually don't like Mario Party, and a lot of people are gonna hate me for that, but it's fun to play the mini games. But I'm super competitive, and this game just ends up being a lot based on luck. I mean, you can be in first place, and in the end, they give people stars for landing on green spaces the most, or I don't know. It's collecting the most coins. It's not my. I don't like it. It's fun to play, but I don't like to play it because I'm so competitive. Mario Party 2, same story. We've got Mario Party Tennis. This game is super addicting. Tennis game. There are power ups. There's different character styles, power hitters, people that move fast. 1 to 4 players. You can play against the computer. Tons of different characters to choose from. This game is awesome. I play this game all the time. Mortal Kombat 4, probably one of my least favorite Mortal Kombat games. They did like the 3D fighting style, which was different from the previous 3, and then Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. But it's still fun. Mortal Kombat's always awesome as a fighter, especially with the fatalities. NASCAR 2000. Used to be a huge NASCAR fan for a year or two when I was like 12. I haven't watched it since then, but these are fun racing games if you can get the hang of them. Blitz, NFL Blitz. This is another one I've put hours and hours into. Still can put it in today. A couple years ago, me and my brother put this in, and we probably played it for 8 hours straight. Super fun to play competitive. Off the wall football games. Against the rules for regular football. Hits in this and just flying through the air. 100-yard passes. It's super fun. NFL Blitz Special Edition. It's the same thing. Next up, this is actually a game from one of my favorite, from my favorite game companies, and that's Atlas. And this is Ogre Battle 64, Persons of Lordly Caliber. I haven't really played this too much. I haven't owned it too long, maybe a year, and with 700 games, it's hard to find time to play all of them. But I've heard it's a great game. It's an Atlas title. It's pretty hard to get, so super happy it's in my collection. Paper Mario for. I actually just had my wife throw this in a couple days ago. I'd never played it. I'd seen it played. Wasn't too sure if it was my style of game. She played it for about an hour. She liked it. I enjoyed watching her. Just kind of a role-playing Mario game. Definitely worth having. Perfect Dark. Again, the same thing as GoldenEye. Played the multiplayer on this hours and hours when I was younger. I did not like it as much as GoldenEye, but definitely a fun multiplayer first-person shooter game on the system. And the last game for part 1 of the N64 collection is Pokemon Stadium. Pokemon Stadium was a stadium fighting game based on Pokemon, and I never really played the actual game, but it came with, or I don't know if it came with it, but you can get an adapter for the controller that lets you port in your Pokemon from Pokemon Red and Blue. I'm not sure if Yellow worked or if Yellow was in Pokemon Stadium 2, but we used to level up our Pokemon, me, my brother, all our friends, and then put them in this game and play it. It's not the most fun I've ever had, but definitely one that's worth owning. So that's it for part 1 of my N64 collection. Thanks for watching, you guys, and keep an eye out for part 2. Bye.